Session for its regularly scheduled meeting of June 5th, 2025. I'm Joey Hargis, Metro Zoning Administrator, and I'll be presenting the cases for review in today's public hearing. The board does ask if you would please put your phones on silent or vibrate, or turn them off if you don't have a signal, because you're just, the signal in this room is not fabulous, so, and we'd appreciate it so it doesn't interrupt today's proceedings. The procedure today will be for us to go through all the cases that are set on today's agenda. Copies of the agenda are just over at the table here. If you don't have one, help yourself. I'll present on the wall here by means of a PowerPoint presentation. I'll present photographs we've taken, site plans the applicant submitted, and pass along any other pertinent information to the board. After I'm done talking, the applicant will come first to the table in front there. There are 4 seats. Help yourself to whichever seat you'd like to sit down. If you look at the microphone stands that are there, just to the right of the stand is a little button. Just hit that button. The light will turn red like my microphone is here. And then identify yourself with your name and address, where you live, and then say what you want to say to the board. To your right where you're sitting, where Ms. Davis is sitting, there's a clock sitting up there on the top. That's a clock that keeps track of testimony time. Applicants in cases without opposition presence get 5 minutes to present their case to the board. That clock will run after you introduce yourself and once you get started, and I'll stop it for any questions or your answers to the board's questions that they may have for you. And then once that's done, we'll start it right back up. In cases that do have opposition, maybe there's the applicants here, but there's somebody opposed to a case, that clock will change to 10 minutes. That 10 minutes is for each side of the case. So that's the applicant, and any people that are for a case will use that pool of 10 minutes. That's not 10 minutes per speaker, but it's 10 minutes as a group. And then after the applicant comes up, the opposition will come forward. They'll have 10 minutes to present their side of the case. If you do have multiple people that want to speak in a case, go ahead and, while you're sitting here now, decide who's talking and for how long, because you'll share that 10-minute pool. And then once the opposition's done, the applicant will have a chance to come back and speak on rebuttal. Once that's done, the board will close the public hearing and they'll discuss the case in front of you and then vote on the cases right here in front of you. So you should have a final decision present today. Once you're done with today's cases, be sure to follow up with the codes department where you filed your appeal. You can do that starting next week. All of these appeals generally are tied to some sort of building permit where we've denied the permit. Just get back with codes on Monday. The zoning review part of that should be signed off on Monday, or depending on the outcome of today. If there are other departments, be sure to get those sign-offs too. And then once everybody sign off, we'll issue the permit. Should be noted that after today, you've got 2 years to execute your permit for which you've applied. So as long as you get your permit within 2 years of today, the board's approval is valid. If for some reason circumstances happen and you're not able to pull your permit 2 years and a day after today, unfortunately, you'll have to come back and seek reapproval. The board's vested with the powers to act today is outlined in section 1740, 180 of the Metro Code of Law. And we'll go through all cases set for public hearing. Before we start the case, a couple preliminary announcements. We do allow council members to speak on a case. Our rules have recently changed in that council members, if you wish to address a case or speak for or against a case, your time previously was untimed. It will be timed now, and it'll count against whichever side you're taking on that. So we'll deduct that from side. I do see one council member present with us. Are there any other council members that I just don't see in the room? Okay. And council member, you're welcome to either speak before we get started into the cases, or you can wait till the case itself. It's your choice, whichever. And then we'll do consent agenda. And I'll actually start that now. The consent agenda is a group of cases nominated by the chair for approval that the chair reviews all of the cases on today's agenda. And if in his opinion, you've met the criteria for the case that you're asking for. So if it's a variance case, you've demonstrated a hardship in your submittal and they feel that testimony would not alter the facts of the case. He'll recommend that case for review by the board. If you're here and I'm going to run through these cases by case number order. But if you're here in opposition to the case, please raise your hand. And what we'll do is we'll pull it off consent and we'll hear it where it's listed on the agenda in that sequence. So with that, I'm going to start calling those cases. So the first case recommended for consent is the case on the front, case 2025-42, SWAT Estates at 1295 Sonny Mead Drive, requesting a variance in the street setbacks in RS 7.5, to seek to build a new single-family residence. Opposition? Okay. We'll pull that from consent, and it's the first case we'll hear. So like we talked about, both sides will get 10 minutes to speak to the case. So the second case recommended for the consent agenda is case 2025-45. It's on the top of the second page. Jason and Heather O'Dowd, 1230 Battlefield Drive. Are there any parties present in opposition to the case on Battlefield? Okay, Mr. Chairman, let the record reflect there are no parties in opposition. The next case recommended for the consent agenda is case 2025-46, Deep River Development, LLC, the appellant owner of the property at 1615 Dr. D.B. Todd Jr. Boulevard, requesting a variance in street setbacks to construct a new single-family residence. Are there any parties present in opposition to case 46 on Dr. D.B. Todd? Okay, seeing none, that case is recommended for consent. The next cases recommended for consent are on the next page. This will be, first will be case 2025-49, Stephen Morconcini. I hope I pronounced your name close. If not, forgive me. My last name's Hargis, and it gets butchered a lot too, so I mean no disrespect. At 604A Hume Street, requesting variance from the height requirements for an opaque fence within the street setback. And then case, are there any parties in opposition to case 49? Okay, Mr. Chairman, seeing none. And case 50 is the adjoining property, just 2 doors down, I believe. Case 2025-50, David and Tamara Warren, 608 A and B Hume Street, requesting variance for height requirements for an opaque fence at the setback. Are there any parties present for case 50 in opposition? Okay, seeing none. And I believe, board, that is your consent agenda. Just recapping, we have 3 cases for consent. 4 cases, excuse me. The first being case 45 on Battlefield, case 46 on Dr. D.B. Todd, case 49 and 50 on Hume Street. That is your consent agenda.
And I just state for the record, I live on the same block face as the Battlefield case, but have made the determination that it will not at all impact my property value in any way, shape, or form. So I don't believe there's a conflict in me supporting the consent approval of that. And with that, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, the consent agenda has been approved on a vote of 4 and 0. So if you're here for cases 45, 46, 49, and 50, you're free to go. Your cases have been approved. And just follow back with the Codes Department beginning on Monday. For the 2 cases on Hume Street, we do not require a building permit for a fence. So this action today is the only action that you need for your fence. We'll send you an order via email that formalizes the board's approval on those 2 cases. So the other 2, be sure to follow up with your permit request beginning on Monday. So with that, we will we'll proceed with the first case on our agenda. Councilmember, which case were you here for? 53. Do you wish to address the board at this time, or do you want to address at the hearing? Okay. All right, Councilmember, we'll wait till then. So our first case will be the case on the front of the docket, case 2025-42, the SWAT Estates, appellant owner of the property located at 1295 Sonny Mead Drive, requesting a variance in the street setbacks in the RS 7.5 district. The appellant seeking to construct a new single-family residence. Referred to the board under section 17-12-030, the appellant has alleged jurisdiction under section 1740. 180, item B. We do have opposition present, so I'm going to reset that clock that's there. And we will, I'm going to go through first the photographs and slides that were submitted and pictures I took, and then I'll turn it over to you, sir, as the applicant. And ladies, once he's done, then we'll hear from you guys. Sir, for your time of 10 minutes, you'll want to save part of that 10 minutes to cover anything that these two folks raise as opposition. Ladies, just a reminder, you guys don't get a second chance in front of the board, so your testimony in your period is the only time you get to speak, unless the board has questions for you later. So let me pull up that. And, all right. Okay, our first case today, as I said, is case 42 on Sonny Mead Drive. Sonny Mead Drive is located over in the East Nashville area. The subject property involved here is the parcel that's listed in kind of that bluish color that you see right here. I keep forgetting that you can't see my pointer. I'll turn on. That parcel is the one. There are existing homes along Sonny Mead to the east. There is a parcel located just to the west at the intersection that is not a part of this appeal, but is a vacant tract, as this parcel is. The nature of the request is you see here, and I'm happy to zoom in on this. Let me see if I can do a better job this time. There we go. So the request is a setback variance from the street. The applicant's requesting a 21-foot setback from the right-of-way line. The pavement's actually a little bit uphill right here where this dark line's located. That's where the actual pavement, the right-of-way, what the city owns is down here, slightly downhill. Looks like about 6 feet down. There, and then this is a view upon visit. So just summarizing the request, required is 33 feet, and that 33 feet is required based upon the average of the homes along Sonny Mead. It's the next 4 homes in that block face. So these 4 homes drive the setback for this, and that average turns out to be 33 feet, and the applicant's proposing 21 feet to the front of the residence. And then pictures from the street on my visit, looking down into the site. Subject site's down here in this wooded tract, and then a view to the immediate parcel to the right, the existing residence next door, which is, I believe, reflected in this drawing. And then that's actually all the photos I've got. Here, I may have a couple more I can add in. Like I said, the parcel to the immediate left is just woods, and there are other homes further to the right that you saw kind of in a line there to the thing. The applicant submitted in his application that his hardship was the stormwater issue that happens along this creek that's located in the center of the lot, and that because of the floodway buffer zone that's required by Metro Water, that's the necessity of why he has to move it forward. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, sir. You'll have 10 minutes.
If you could give me a second, I have to move because this one's pixelated, the screen.
Oh, is it?
To
I'm
let you
sorry.
know,
Okay.
Give me 1 second, thank you.
The good news is, Member Carpenter, that the General Services Division is about to gut this entire room with audio-visual equipment and upgrade it to brand new stuff. So we will spend 2 of our meetings in July and August out at the school board. But at the end of August, when we come back, we should have brand new stuff.
So out of 1995 and into 2010.
Yes, we'll see.
Beautiful.
We'll see how it goes. So they're promising it's going to be much, much better. Yes, so there's our map there. All right, sir, I'll leave it here, and with that, I'll turn it over to you, sir, and I'll begin your clock once you're done introducing yourself to the board.
Okay, thank you. My name is Brandon Scott. I'm here representing, it's actually Sway, it says SWAT, but it's actually Sway Estates, just to, for that to be on record.
Can you give us your address for the record, please, sir?
Say it again?
Your address for the record, too, please.
The address, this is going to be...
Your address.
My personal address?
Yes, sir, please.
My personal address is 1807 North Side Drive.
Nashville.
Murfreesboro.
Murfreesboro.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
No problem. Yeah, as he mentioned, it's pretty straightforward on this case. There's, as you know, there's a creek behind there. And it does still currently flood. We believe this just from research, this happened around 2010 when the massive flood, I think it was 2010 when that took place. And basically, what we're looking to do, just to kind of summarize, I think that was a pretty straightforward summary, is just basically we want to move the house forward some just to get a little bit away from the creek. Now, most of these houses have been there for years, right? And they currently still flood. I've talked to several neighbors on that street, and we're just want to basically push it up some. Now, we do know that there's a setback rule, but there's also the average, right? And this is why we're at 33 on this. But yes, we want to basically move it up about 10 feet or so. So one, we can have a little bit more room behind where the creek is, right? We're looking to basically go about 24 inches in the rear footing, and we'll do about 3 foot wide. That's just going to make that rear wall where the creek is a lot stronger. And, you know, this is all for the potential buyers, right? We want it to be safe as possible so they don't have to have any kind of issues in the future. And it's a small lot, but it's a nice size lot, basically. So we're looking just to basically move it up forward. And this also going to allow us to, we had to do a FEMA report as well. So we're going to build it up about 4 feet off the ground, 5 feet off the ground, and get the house a little closer to the street. Put a driveway in, right, in a garage. So now if it does flood again, the cars won't be impacted, because currently right now, that's what's happening. The neighbors are having to basically move their cars out of the driveway on the street somewhere because of the floods. When it floods, it gets up to 4.5 foot tall. So that's pretty much all we're looking to do, is just to move it up some. And we can establish that foundation a little bit stronger, as well as we're not so close to that creek and the floodway. I mean, we're still, if you look at the picture, we're still pretty close to that floodway, but at least we can get a little bit, because out of all of the houses on that street, we're the closest to the floodway. If you're looking at it, you can see how it slants down into that left rear of the foundation. So that's pretty much what we're looking to do. Just push it up some, just makes it a little bit more safer, get it off of the floodway a little bit more. We're going to strengthen that foundation some more, and we can potentially make the driveway closer so we can put the car in the garage, you know, when it's raining. That should help out the potential buyer on that.
Any questions? Okay, there are none. So you'll have 7 minutes and 22 seconds left for rebuttal if you'd like it.
If there is any questions?
There are not any right now, so the opposition gets to speak, but you're going to have 7 minutes left.
Oh, to talk
speak
after them.
they
Okay,
speak.
great,
Correct, yeah,
great.
Yeah. Okay, opposition, if you'll identify yourselves, and if you'll make sure your red light is on there, if you'll push that button to yeah,
Oh, there we go.
perfect. Okay, and if you can give us your name and address, please, ma'am.
Yeah, my name is Katie Williams. I live at 1252 Sonny Drive, Nashville. And this is my neighbor, Vicki Yebb. She lives on the property at 1303 Sunnymead. Just a couple of things. First of all, aesthetically, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb on that street. It's a really fun little street. Kids ride their bikes up and down. We've got owls in the trees. There's a creek. And it's just gonna be ugly to have a house sitting right there on a very steep lot. The other thing is I've seen that entire area underwater 3 times since I bought my house in 2010. And I think it's just probably going to push more water into the other neighbors' houses. If there's something there that's more sturdy, that's blocking, there's going to be flooding going worse. And another thing, this may not be the right place to talk or discuss, but Vicki bought the house in November.
Yeah, I closed November 22nd.
And
this year.
she went through Mark Spain Realty. They did not tell her that there was a parceled out lot next to her. She thought that all of that property was hers. And the property line is missing from her HUD.
It's not Mark Spain,
And-
it's
Oh, not Mark Spain.
Bob.
Okay. Well, so she has a lawyer now that's trying to deal with this. So I don't know if that's part of this or not, but those are just basically we want to just come in and just say that and make our peace. Did you
Okay,
guys say
any
anything?
questions for the opposition?
Can Vicki say something?
Yeah, and if you would, state your name, please, ma'am. I know that she did too, but state your name and address again, if you would.
My name is Vicki Yebb, and my address is right there at 1303 Sunnymead Drive, which is my house, the White House right there, and close to the next lot that we were talking about. I just bought the house and we just closed like right around Thanksgiving last year. And by the time it was leased, the seller agent that leased the house was William Perkington, and that the house there, it was the old house before that, but the investment, which is Wolf investment that buy that a little, all the land there, a little compound, the compound there, and they renovate the old house there to a, which it become to a new house, and they all paint all white. But originally the house is just there, and they just paint to the white color. And when I bought the house, I didn't know anything about that lot there, go over the next lot, anything, because they never told me anything like that. And the problem is that house there also in the flood area pretty bad, and is also wetland, but I understand is really in the flood area. When it rained so hard lately, the water even come beyond the creek close to my backyard, to the house. And now they, there is they want to build something and ask to build, like, go forward to the street. I just have the feeling that is impossible. But I don't know how it will. But plus what I heard, the neighbor told me that they go to build like a 3-story house. And I just feel like I have such a small house right there. What happened? They build a 3-story house, and where they go to build, and where they go to pay the driveway, and they ask for easement, also stuff. But anyhow, I just feel like even though if it rain a lot or something, the water will just even follow and will be swallow my little house here. And I just feel like it's such a painful. And I don't know how it's going to look like. I cannot even picture how it's going to be. And they were asking me to give them permission to move the fence, because they said that my lot there, that I live right now, even some part of that belong to the lot, the new lot there, that I didn't even know about that, because when I buy the house, I asked the seller agent, he said my land there right in the little tree there. And when I closed the house, it was snowing, the snow all over the place. I couldn't tell where. When the sun come up a month or 2 months later, I just think I'm going to plant some tree. Then I just realized that the lot there, where I live there, belonged to the next lot. And I'm kind of like, what's going on? I didn't even know all that. And now even say about even go to my air conditioning. I said, what happened? Air conditioning stay over there for 30 years so far in the past. When I moved in, the air conditioning not even work. I had to spend about $1,000 to make the heat work. And what happened? They come bill and cut the air conditioning. So that's why they were asking for easement or something like that. But I just think that something was wrong, because I didn't know anything before that. And now we're asking to build a house, the next lot, build a house, go forward to the street. All the houses that on that street, we have a rule and regulation that had to be the same size, the same, whatever, not close to the street. And what happened, the new house come and build and ask for it will be look like just only one house right corner there. And if you would stand at the stop sign, look down, it's like pretty deep. I don't know how that happened. You're going to put a new house there. And plus, I'm so worried because my house is so little over there. And what happened, the new house block over there, and the water and rain come, it will like ruin the whole thing, my house. Plus, I live in the flood area. I pay the flood insurance too every month.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for this opposition? Okay, thank you all. So you have 7 minutes left if you want to address anything. And I have a question for you. This is a 2,100 square foot house, is that correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Am I allowed to record myself while I'm doing this?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Am I allowed to record myself while I'm doing this?
It's getting recorded on YouTube, so you
Oh.
can, you can pull it off.
You're getting recorded
Yeah,
anyway.
you can pull
Say all
it,
that,
you can
okay.
pull it off the internet.
Okay. Well, this is a setback hearing, so I'm not going to get into all that. But what I will state is, sir, are you able to put the plat map back on the screen there? We'll just knock out a couple of details. And if you don't mind just zooming in just a little bit, if you could, just to clarify a little of what she's talking about. And hopefully after today, the light bulb will go off and everything will click. It's pretty simple. She did buy her house a year ago. If you're looking at the map there, you'll see the X's, right? The X's are going around. That is her fence, and you see where our foundation is, right? Which will be another meeting for that. The second one, go over to the left just a hair, you'll see it. You see those X's in the middle of the foundation? You'll see where it says, I guess he's trying to get that together. But basically, there you go. There you go. I like that. That's nice. Basically, her fence is going into our property line. So if you see the X in the middle of the foundation, that is our property line. That is our property where her fence is located, which is separate. Her HVAC is also on our property line. So the fence is about 8 feet on the property line. The HVAC is about 4 feet on the property line. It's pretty simple. They bought the house. They didn't get it surveyed. We already talked to their realtor. She doesn't really have a lawyer. We tried to do that, but that's another day. I just want to clarify some of what she was saying. So that's not affecting anything. I mean, the fence is on our property line, and before she bought the house, she should have got a survey, so she would have known that. And then she would have known where the property lines are at. Secondly, to address the other young lady on the other side, yeah, I definitely understand that. I do have the blueprint already. It's going to be a 2-story house. It's not a 3-story house. If we're able to basically move the house forward like we're wanting to do, it's going to be 2 stories because we don't have to go up to 3. However, that doesn't, it doesn't really matter because if that doesn't really matter. It doesn't apply to that. Secondly, of course, we're going to, regrade the land so the water can potentially go in the creek. However, the problem is not anybody's land on anybody's property in that neighborhood. It's the creek, right? The creek was never built properly, which is the main problem. And I know neighbors in the neighborhood have also went back to try to get the city to strengthen that creek up so that way, it doesn't rise, but, that hasn't happened yet. So that's the problem. Whether my house is where it is currently or the house moves forward, if the creek doesn't get better, the same things are going to happen. And that's just all that is on that. And I'm sure she's here to kind of support her, but that has nothing to do with this. This house, these lots, and the last thing I would say is her house that she purchased, the previous owner owned all 3 lots. However, what they told her, which is the owner owns all 3 lots, which technically he did. However, they were 3 separate parcels of land. So she bought her house, I think, and this is coming from another neighbor, they assume, because the neighbor assumed too, oh, well, if you own this house, you must own all these pieces of land. It's not true because there's 3 parcels of land. So she bought her house, but the other 2 parcels are separate.
The lot that you have.
Yes.
It doesn't have a structure on it right now, right?
No, sir.
It's undeveloped. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Exactly. It's undeveloped. So the one on the far left and the one that we have, they're all undeveloped. I believe they assumed that they owned all 3, but they're 3 separate parcels of land, which again, that's just kind of due diligence on that. So basically, we're just looking to push the house forward a little bit, get it off the creek a little bit. There's plenty of people in the neighborhood that wish the same thing could happen because it's sitting so far back. And there's plenty of room to move it up some. You'll still be able to see pretty much all the houses. Is it going to stick out a little bit? Well, yes, this house is brand new. Those houses probably are about 20 plus years old. So, that's going to happen anyways. But that's all we're looking to do. But none of those things that they're mentioning has anything to do has anything to do with us on that. And the fence will address that. I'm assuming our lawyer is taking care of it. We'll address that later on that.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, no questions. Thank y'all. All will close the public hearing and discuss. Well, I mean, the reason I put it on the consent agenda is, to me, there's clearly a hardship here, and they're doing all they can, which is building right up to the floodway. And, you know, if they were building like a 5,000 square foot house and you thought, or 8,000, you could maybe trim the size of the house down to reduce the setback. But 2,100, in my estimation, is pretty modest house. Anyway, I think there's a hardship here. I understand the neighbor's concern about stormwater, but we don't. There's a whole other department of Metro that's a lot smarter about that and has jurisdiction over that. And
Yeah, I mean, I think that just to speak to some of their concerns, you know, this board doesn't have authority on design, on anything related to overlays and how things look. There are options there. We don't have flood control powers too. I will just say for the benefit of those in the crowd that I live on a street that had an issue with a lot of flooding, and Metro, not to commit our esteemed government to spend more money, but Metro did come in and dredge a big stormwater conveyance. They have the ability to do that where they can deepen these things and deepen the level that can allow for greater capacity because of the number of increased, heavy rain events that we're getting throughout the city. So there is a solution that can help flooding throughout the neighborhood that's available. But that, again, that's sort of, insofar as it impacts the decision of this board, I think what we have to think about is, what does that presence do to what they want to put on this property? And I agree with the chairman that I think that there is a hardship in the location of the creek and appreciate a desire to move this structure forward. And I think that if other people on the street, frankly, were to need to put additions on their homes or to do things on their property, that I think that they could potentially also have a compelling case for a hardship on their own lots, to the extent, I know there was an email maybe in there that raised concerns about not being able to do something on someone's property, and that, but so I understand all the concerns that the neighbors have raised, but I do think that the applicant has demonstrated a hardship based upon the presence of the creek and
floodway,
flood zone.
I agree there's a hardship, and the house is not oversized, I don't think, but it does really impact this neighbor, and it's so close to the neighbor's house, and it's so very far forward of it, and it's not contextual, and I think it will have an impact on this neighbor. And so I don't feel we have to grant cases or approve cases that necessarily have a hardship. I think we're allowed to not. If it's injurious to the neighbor, we don't have to approve it. So I'm inclined to vote against. So just being transparent.
Yeah, I guess the only, go ahead.
I was going to say, looking at that survey though, it's the existing home that is over the side setback. So I understand that the new home will be relatively close to the existing home, but it's not at the fault of the new home. It is because the existing home is not built correctly on the site. So I'm inclined to vote for the variance.
Yeah, I guess, and I appreciate what you're saying. It is not contextual, but I mean, that's just the floodway goes like this. It angles right on this property, and otherwise you're going to have a property owner that's left with an undeveloped lot. Because if you can't do this with it, I don't think you can do anything with it except, go out there and have a picnic and not have a structure. So
You might be able to do something, and it might be a 3-story building. I mean, that might be skinnier in footprint, and it might be taller. I mean, I think there's something you can do, but I appreciate what that you reminded me about the property line issue. But this is why we have a lot of members in the board, for people like me that are the outliers. But I think I'll still vote against.
okay,
I'd like to make
that's right.
I'd like to make a motion that we grant the variance.
Okay, there's a motion, a second.
I'll second it.
All right. I thought it was coming. Okay, a motion, a second. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, so that doesn't pass 3-1, but it will come back on.
Our
Mr.
agenda.
Harris could explain to you.
Yes, I will. This case is tied up on votes, so it'll remain on our agenda. Our next agenda is on a Friday, February, It's a little too hot for February. June the 20th. That's the day after the Juneteenth federal holiday and Metro holiday. So it'll be on Friday. It'll be in this room. Same time. You'll be on the agenda. It'll be right up front. Procedurally, what'll happen is Miss Davis came in a little bit late. She can review what was testified to before she arrived and become eligible if she wants to. I do have two other members that are not present today. They can watch the YouTube video of this recording, catch up, and vote at that hearing as well. But at the end of the day, if you end up still without 4 votes, that case will be denied. If you get a 4th vote, then it will be approved. But
So
that's
it'll be a revote on the 20th? you
on the
said?
20th, yes, sir.
And,
Not really, I wouldn't describe it as a
Sorry,
revote. Ms.
Okay.
Davis, who is absent, technically
Okay.
will be eligible, along with our other 2 members, should they wish to participate.
Okay, and do I have to represent it again as well?
No,
or
sir, no, public hearing's over.
You're just gonna state yea and nay basically that day?
That's
Okay.
correct, sir. Yes, sir. And that'll be in this room on Friday, June 20th.
At the same time?
Same time, that's
Okay,
1
all
o'clock.
right,
yes, sir.
thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you all for, that are at table. We'll get you all to step away, and our next case we'll hear will be case 2025-48, Ms. Karen Robbins. Is the appellant owner located at the property of 4600 Nevada Avenue, requesting a variance from the height requirements for an opaque fence within the street setback in the RS 7.5 district. Seeking approval for a fence that's previously constructed. Ms. Robbins, was that fence constructed by a prior owner? Do I understand that? Okay. I just want to make sure I put that out there. All right.
Is there opposition here on this one?
Is there any opposition
Okay.
present? We do have opposition present. So just like our last case you guys saw, 10 minutes per side. You'll get 10 minutes. The 3 of y'all will need to divide up your 10 minutes accordingly and save some time for the opposition after the opposition speaks. Let me reset the clock, and then I'll go through our presentation, just like y'all saw last time. If my remote would work with me here. There we go. Okay. The subject property is located, what you see here, the lot in blue, located at the intersection of 46th and Nevada Avenues. Over in Sylvan Park, this is, the nature of the request is a fence that's been erected. And that would be kind of this fence here. I'll go back to the arrow and show you that, but you'll see it in the photographs as well. There's a solid opaque fence that's been constructed within 10 feet of the city's right-of-way. The maximum allowable height of an opaque fence within 10 feet of the city's right-of-way is 2.5 feet. And this sits, I believe, at 6 feet. And on the aerial, you can barely see it's right here. One thing I will make a comment: you do see other fences similarly situated. Those folks are being abated at this time. So, all right. So this is our fence. This is I'm standing out in front of the residence, looking back. Ms. Robbins' residence, looking north. This is 46th here in Nevada.
So Mr. Harris, is this supposed to be 6 feet where it is that correct?
Where it's sitting here, it's so from. I think the next photograph may show it better. So from the city's right of way. Let me zoom in up there. So within the first 10 feet of a city right of way, the fence can't be any taller than 30 inches.
Okay.
To be a solid fence. Like this fence that you see here in her front yard is not opaque. I can see through it. It can be 6 feet tall all the way to the property line. So as you notice in these 2 photographs, this particular fence portion is totally fine. The black wrought iron fence is an open fence. It can be even taller than it is now. I think that's 4 feet. It could go up to 6 feet, totally fine. The solid fence is the issue here.
And the solid fence has to be 30 inches?
Has to be 30 inches.
30 inches.
Yes, sir.
And that's from the grade of the house?
From the grade, yes, sir, on this side, up 30 inches there.
What's the fence that's right that looks
This
like
one?
it connects to it?
Yep.
What, is that a,
It is a violation also. It's the same height as this fence. It's older. I can't put a date on it because, again, we don't require permits for fences, but
yeah.
I would say it's older, but it is also a violation. Our office will be sending that neighbor an abate notice to correct as well.
One other question, and I
Yes,
don't know
ma'am.
if you would know the answer, but do we know the location of the fence from the property line? Because in the testimony, it was mentioned from the street, but the property line is somewhere different.
I went out, when I visited the site, I would estimate from the back of this pole, these poles that you see kind of running in line, that is most likely the city's right of way. I sort of stepped off. That sign, that public hearing sign that you see sitting out there is 3 feet in length. So there's probably about 4 to 5 feet from the city's right of way in which this fence sits. But for a fence that height would have to be 10 feet off the city's right of way,
Wherever the property line is.
wherever
which
the
we
property
don't
line
know.
comes.
We can guess, but we don't know for sure.
No, we'll cover that. No, it's 30 inches in height for, yep, for an open fence. So, this fence, again, the black wrought iron's totally fine. That fence, too tall. At some point of this fence, we're okay from here back. But wherever the 10-foot line bisects this fence, so wherever that line comes in off of the north-south street, can't be over 30 inches. Or it could be open, open fences we've talked about before, picket-type fences, if I can't tell from this board, but let's say that board's, 4 inches in width, the space between the next board should also be 4 inches to be considered an open fence. I think that, Mr. Bradford, that your question about the neighbor to the north, again, let you know we're going after that one too. So we're not picking on,
Yeah, I was
Ms.
mainly,
Robbins,
I was
but-
mainly asking just because I didn't know if they
Oh,
had
that-
gotten
no,
if they had
they're-
gotten a.
I'll tell you, and I don't mind stating it publicly, there are multiple fences in this neighborhood that are in violation.
I mean, you could probably throw a rock from anywhere in the county and hit
I
7 of them.
counted
I
myself
guess
when
there's thousands across
when-
Davidson.
yes, sir.
Tennessee.
I counted just myself driving out here and just kind of looking around. The fence directly across the street's in violation. There's 2 more fences to the north that are in violation. There's some further back on Nevada. I've sent my inspectors out to this whole neighborhood and,
Yeah, I think I've said
Slide
in about
up.
7 of these meetings, and especially
Yes, sir.
anytime there's a council member present, a plea for some sort of fencing, permitting scheme.
obviously, we would love to have this conversation before it gets erected, so everybody kind of knows what the rules are. But those are the photos I've got and the drawings submitted by the applicant. Again, just a reminder to the board members, we do not measure from the pavement, we measure from the city right of way. So some of that grass area that's out there is city right of way. But that's our case record. We do have opposition present. With that, I'll turn it over to you guys. You'll have 10 minutes. Just a reminder, be sure to save some of your 10 if you want to rebut testimony of the nice lady here at the back. And then I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. My name is Karen Robbins, and I live at 4600 Nevada Avenue in Sylvan Park. I'm the sole owner and occupant of this home. I have several reasons today for seeking the variance for this particular fence. The first one is I did not construct the fence. When I bought the property in 2019, the fence was already in place by the previous owners. And I will say, it was one of the deciding factors for me to purchase this home, among others, because it did afford some sense of security and solace from 46th Avenue traffic, which can be quite heavy most of the time. As you've stated, my fence is the same height from street level as several of my neighbors' fences along 46th Avenue, and there's at least 6 others and dozens others throughout the neighborhood that are at least this tall, and some that are even constructed upon even retaining walls that make them even higher. So to note, 46th Avenue is an arterial roadway that leads directly to I-40 and 440. Oftentimes, if there's an accident on 440, Traffic will come directly through 46 and will stay parked on 46. My home was renovated. It's an over 100-year-old home, and it was renovated by the previous owners in 2018, I believe, and I purchased it in 2019. But when they did that, all of the windows, the majority of the windows, I should say, face 46. So this fence affords me some privacy from traffic that is sitting on the roadway during high traffic times. It affords me privacy in my own backyard from pedestrians that instead of using the 46th Avenue sidewalk across the street from my property, they often use this easement area, including there is a homeless encampment that is at Alabama and Charlotte. Richland Park is not very far away. It's just 2 blocks away. That also has active drug use at times. We have had several occasions where some of that activity has been up and down on 46. So that fence provides me a little bit of safety and security there. In addition, I love Sylvan Park. It's a wonderful community. There are more, it is also becoming much more mixed use. In addition to that, there are a lot of restaurants that I think there's 3 that have been added just in the last year. One is located directly across the street from my property. In addition to that, right behind that or next to it, a small hotel is being constructed. So if the height of the fence were to go down, anyone standing on the retaining wall could easily scale that fence, or you can peer into it from the restaurant and definitely from the hotel that's going up. I guess you could call it a micro hotel, a bed and breakfast type property. They can already see inside my property from where they are. I've had many security issues over the last 5 years that I've lived there, which is why I ended up constructing the open fence that you see. And I went through, I was very concerned about codes, and so I did go through a couple of fence companies to make sure that the open fence was correct. I assumed that the fence that I bought the property with was also correct, because I just want to do the right thing. Some of those security issues that have directly affected me, I had a man that would send packages to my home in his name. He did that 3 times over the course of 2 weeks and showed up, this is prior to me constructing that black fence, showed up on my front porch 2 times to collect his packages. I have no idea why he did that. Startled me. Even though he had received refunds from Amazon, he just decided to use my home as a place to come pick things up. I was attacked by a dog a few years ago from behind, just a few doors down. I often work out in my yard. I try to make my yard look as awesome as I can. I love working at it, and I love being inside the perimeter of my yard. Having been attacked by a dog made me very nervous, and it took me a little bit of time, but that's why I initially decided to go ahead and construct the wrought iron fence. It has locking gates, and it gives me an added sense of security, as I mentioned before. I'm the sole occupant of that home, so anything that can be done for that, in addition to the numerous solicitors that would show up, come across the street, and show up onto my front porch without my awareness of that. If I'm working in the backyard, I can't hear anything with traffic on 46th. And those are the main reasons. The retaining wall does make the fence taller, but it goes below the grade of the road. So I have a couple of neighbors here that have offered to support me. I have 2 affidavits from another neighbor who's a lawyer, so he likes affidavits, so I have those. In addition, I have written support from a neighbor across the street and support from Councilmember Gadd, who couldn't be here today because she had a previous engagement. I think that's it. So I just wanted to thank you for your time and open to any questions.
Any questions for the applicant?
I do. Do you have anything, a survey, something showing where your property line is?
I didn't bring that with me today, but I'm sure it's on the parcel map for.
Parcel map's probably not that accurate.
Yeah, I'd have to, I didn't think to bring that with me today.
Yeah.
You know, I think part of the setback piece to this, and I know there was some discussion, I think it's from that green strip that you see right there. I think we measured that, it's like 8 or 9 feet from the road.
Yeah.
And I will say that, you know, from the other piece to this, if I were to modify that fence in any way and cut it, right? I mean, that's the first thing that you would think to do. That has to be precision cutting. So it doesn't look odd. It's already going to look odd because it won't be in keeping with some of the other fences in the neighborhood. But that particular setback, I think it was right around 8 or 9 feet.
The road, though, is.
But I am closer to the road there because of the way the road grades. So it's straight coming off of Charlotte.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, and I'm super close. So if you, and I have a lot of people that would, before I constructed the black fence, they would cut across my front yard. And that's, you know, it's okay. I'm very neighborly.
But that's your yard, sure.
But it's surprising. But they use that area so much. You would think that it wouldn't be used because there is a full-length sidewalk on the other side going down 46. But it is very, very close to the road, and access for pedestrians is in seconds.
Just to say, though, the road line is not your property line, so it's somewhere in that grassy area.
Yeah, where the retaining wall is, I would imagine, it's still a
That might
foot
be your
behind the
property line,
retaining wall. So my assumption when I bought the property is that that retaining wall is probably over 100 years old, like the home. And that was my property line. And the fence is at least a foot inside that, so.
Any more questions for the applicant? Okay, ma'am, you'll have 3 minutes and 57 seconds left for rebuttal if you'd like it.
Sure.
Thank you. We'll hear from the opposition.
Hi, I have some printed documents that I emailed to the zoning board, but it wasn't really, I'll provide you guys with one too. I wasn't really clear how to get it submitted to the record. They just said they noted my opposition. I have, this is why I was a little late. I have, I was trying to print out some paper copies. So my opposition.
Ma'am, if you'll wait till, if you will have a seat and turn on your microphone when you address us, please, we'd appreciate that. And if you would give us your name and address, please, ma'am.
Mary Snodgrass, 4705 Nevada Avenue.
Okay.
I live.
Just to the right of the stand, push the button just on that very bottom.
The 3 dots?
No, right to the right-hand side of the stand.
Right. Oh, the person? Oh, okay. Okay. I live a block away from here, and I turn left going out to Charlotte multiple times a day. It occurred to me recently that once the city went and they put those, they painted the lines for the bike lanes, it occurred to me that I cannot see to turn without either getting into the bike lane, which is not allowed and also causes a safety issue. I end up having to floor the gas to turn left onto this road. You can see on the pictures I provided, so the picture that he provided, it was from standing in front of the property. The first picture shows where I am in my car trying to turn, and almost the entire view is obstructed. It's actually whenever that black fence was created, there's no definition in codes about what is an open fence. The slats are pretty wide, and so in the where I am at the stop sign to turn, it turns into a solid fence for me. Furthermore, that the electricity pole, that gets in the way as well. And so that's when it occurred to me that once they built that black fence, which does supposedly fit codes, the other fence doesn't. And so if lowering and moving back that other wooden fence that does not fit increases my safety multiple times a day, then I don't think that there should be an approved variance. You can see, so there is a uniqueness about the road turns west slightly, which even further makes it a hazard. I don't care, I mean, I respect their security and sense of security, but it should not present a public welfare issue to other residences. I just want to say that the lawyer who they referenced had an affidavit. He owns the neighboring property that also has a violating fence. In his affidavit, he said that there was no accidents that he knew of. He's never had an issue staying out of it. I provided in my documents a picture of the last 2.5, 3 years of vehicle crashes. You can see where the blue lines that I put in there, that is where there are 8-foot violating fences in the neighborhood. And you can see that there are clusters of accidents at those areas. One thing with it, so pretty much it's accidents and wanting to be able to see. I don't know how, or it didn't really matter the cost of what it costs for the general public to be able to have a side of line view of no obstruction.
Let me ask you this. So looking at I see one blue dot at the end.
So the one is where there was an accident in Nevada and 46th. The picture below it is where there are the multiple also violating fences, which kind of are all around these accidents. I will note that the fence that I have an issue with, that I have to turn out of daily, is it's the only one that it is to the left, and so turning left is much more dangerous than turning right. I would also like to question.
Is there an obstruction, if you were to go like a block north or another block north, is there a fence there that obstructs your ability to turn left?
Yes, yeah. Which that property, they had a maybe a 5.5, 6-foot fence. They recently made that to an 8-foot fence or taller because of other ones around them. Now the block furthest, 4601 Park, they had an approval granted 20 years ago. But this is the only one where, so the aerial view in my documents, you can see where they have the bicycle lanes have been drawn. That's where it kind of turns, and so it even further obstructs my view. I literally cannot see to turn without putting my car into the bike lane, which is a hazard to any bikers. Another point I would like to bring up is if a variance is granted and I get into an accident at this intersection, is the city liable because they granted that variance or not? Let me just make sure I didn't have any other issues, but I mean, my issue is safety and being able to safely pull out and not hit a child and not have a bike, run into me because I'm in the bike lane. I cannot turn left at this intersection now with the bike lanes delineated and this new black fence and the violating fence there. I can't turn with safely. I believe that's pretty much kind of the issues I had. But so the accident that did take place at that intersection was in November 2023. I also had a question about, there is a different fence rule for corner lots. So even if they were outside of that 10-foot area, until it gets to the back of the house, so that's on the last page, it can only be 6 foot tall, opaque, not 8 foot. So kind of all I'm wanting is, the only thing I can ask for is a little extra of that 2 feet to be able to see, hopefully. So that's the reason why it's been there for a while and I haven't had an issue with it, because of the black fence and the new bike lanes. Thank you. Oh.
Any questions? No questions?
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Robbins, you have some time left if you want to.
Thank you. I respect my neighbor's concerns. I was concerned about that as well when I constructed the black fence, and I did a lot of research into that. I will say that the pole that is in front of my home definitely is a hindrance to being able to turn left. I understand that. That's also not something that I constructed. As far as, the ability to go to another street, there's a couple blocks up that has a red light that someone could go to access 46 to get to Charlotte. I don't believe that taking the fence height down to 6 feet is going to help this issue. And again, the bike lanes and the delineators, all of that has been constructed after the fence was there. So I'm able to turn left or right off of 46 often.
I assume if you or any of your neighbors wanted to request a stop sign or a four-way stop from the Traffic and Parking Commission, there would probably be no opposition.
Correct. I have considered that. I used to be on the Parking Commission. So.
I also think that the requirement is 2.5 feet, not 6 feet. So I agree. I don't think taking it down to 6 feet would be of any help, but
Right.
I think the requirement is 2.5 feet.
2.5 feet to go down. Yeah, and then it doesn't become anything that can be helpful at that point.
Okay, any more questions from the applicant or for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much. We'll close the public hearing and discuss.
Thank you. I appreciate your consideration.
Well, I think considering that it's right next to that bike lane and on a corner, I think we are looking at a bit of a safety issue in this case with that solid fence. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah, and I also think that, I lived at Nebraska and 41st for a year with in a house at the time that was unlawfully 4 dudes living together, but routinely was on the street, and it definitely it needed more 4-way stops than it probably does now. And so I think that the neighbor's concern is probably something that can be alleviated through some work with NDOT on traffic management and safety issues that go beyond this. I agree that pole presents an issue, and that's nothing, nobody can do anything about it. I think there has been, I think the other overriding thing is that this fence predated this neighbor's moving into the residence. It was not self-imposed. And the nature of the lot and the proximity, I think warrants the variance.
I mean, the last case we just heard had a similar fence that predated,
Right.
So
This is not going to be the last one of these we hear.
yeah.
So looking at this picture, I just don't see, I don't see a visibility issue with taking a left here. Seems like I have a lot less visibility on a lot of streets I take a left on. And if there is one, I don't see how taking this wooden fence down, it doesn't seem to be obstructing the view to me. It seems like the pole is obstructing the view to me. We've had a lot of these cases where people buy a home with some type of code violation, and I think that's something we always ought to consider. The grade of the house is also below well below the street, and there's 9 feet of distance between the fence and the public right-of-way as well. It is an arterial street, and I think that does, when you live on an arterial street, you face more noise and more traffic. The house is also pretty close to that road, so I think that there are hardships here, and I think we always ought to consider if somebody buys a home and it has something constructed no, let's face it, nobody buys a home and goes out and makes sure all metro codes are complied with. So, and I don't, there may be some issues turning left here, but I don't see that they're caused by this wooden fence. And so,
Well, I'm always concerned with the safety issue, and I don't think any of us can judge on that here. I think we need the professionals, like NDOT, to go over there and make a recommendation on that. I mean, they put in those bike lanes. I drive right next to those bike lanes. I don't think I make a left off of your road, though. So that would be my suggestion, is we get the professionals to weigh in on it as to whether or not there's a safety issue, because if there is a potential safety issue, then I would be hard for me to vote in favor of it, and I just don't know right now.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. I think it's a waste of time, because I think, frankly, I think we can look at the photographs, and they're either going to say there's a visibility concern and this pole that's causing it, and nobody can do a thing about it. I don't see, there's not a triangle. Essentially the triangle of death, or whatever they call it, that NDOT looks at when it comes to where, what they're looking at. There's nothing in code violation there. So I think we're just creating a hoop that someone's going to have to jump through, and adding an additional burden on this person who didn't invite or cause this problem in any way.
Ms. Davis.
I don't know. I think it's sort of hard. I think, what I'm a little concerned with, because I agree with both Member Carpenter and with you, Chairman, but I think what I'm concerned with is, like, we got a bunch of these coming, and everybody's gonna want it to be treated the same, and, like, everybody may not have the same unique circumstances as this person, so I guess I just wanna make sure that we're consistent, but I guess I'm a little torn, so I was still listening, because I see both sides of the argument, and I just know that in a couple weeks, somebody's gonna say, well, you didn't, we're gonna hear this, and so I guess I just wanna make sure that I'm prepared for that in my head, and any argument that I'll have for that, so I'm just still.
If council or somebody could come up with a way that we don't have to hear these things every week, it would make everybody's life better, because, it comes in as a complaint or, an abatement notice, and it's so routinely not the fault of the person who lives there or owns the property, and we're just creating burdens on people unnecessarily, and serving very little good, particularly if this is not something that's, if it's endemic enough around the county that we're creating work where there's not.
And also, too, I think in this case, there's like two competing safety arguments. Like, you have the driver that's made a safety argument. We've also had the homeowner make a safety argument. And to the chairman's point, she does live on an arterial boulevard that's a mixed-use neighborhood. And I know that, I don't like comparing to similar cases, but I know that sometimes we have used like security and safety as a factor. I know one we heard recently where this man was having a lot of robberies, so that's why he put up his privacy fence. So I just know that I think it's sort of kind of, you're in the middle. It's which security interests or safety issues do you take up? Do you take the safety issue of the owner who lives where she lives very close to this arterial boulevard, or do you take up the safety issue of the left turn, which I think that's also, it's interesting because, we have the testimony of the opposition, but then to the point that both Mr. Bradford and the chairman pointed out, like, the pole is also causing a problem, and the opposition said she didn't really even have a problem until she put the black fence up, and the black fence is compliant. So it's just like.
Yeah, and the other issue is that, a four-way stop could solve the neighbors' safety worries without impacting the current homeowner's safety worries.
So I drive on that road, a four-way stop across 46th. I don't know that's going to be, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That would be really tough to implement. But what I want to say is, from my point of view as design professional, there's a big difference between an 8-foot tall fence and a 2-foot 6 fence. And there's some reason that that's in the Metro zoning code. So I just don't feel comfortable as a just design professional saying we can just go from an 8-foot fence to a 2-foot, for the opposite way. So that's just where I am. And that's why I was seeking the advice of NDOT. So, but that's why we have a big board, so we can, we can vote all the way we think we need to vote.
I'll make a motion, we approve the variance as requested based upon the demonstration of a hardship with respect to the siting of the structure on the property, the shape of the lot, the proximity to the roadway, and the unique circumstances that this was pre-existed the homeowner. That was a feature of the property at the time of acquisition.
Okay, I'll second that motion. And I understand Ms. Carpente's wanting to, you're being very cautious, and I get it. I just, relying on my own eyes, I just can't imagine NDOT's going to say that this fence, it looks to be probably at least 75 yards back from this turn, is that, reducing it is going to help. And I think, as Ms. Davis pointed out, the opposition herself said her visibility issue came up when they put in the opaque black fence, which just doesn't comport. But at any rate, I'll second the motion. Okay, any further discussion? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Okay. Let me try, no, that's.
No, we actually-
Suggested amendment, we'll just let it.
Well, this case stands on a tie vote like our
Right.
first case. Yes, so this case will stay on our agenda for the next 30 days. The next hearing will be, which will not be a public hearing, is June 20th. That's Friday in this room, June 20th at 1 o'clock. It'll be on our agenda, most likely behind the first case on our docket today. No new testimony or evidence is submitted. It's the two members who were not present are allowed to watch the tape, become eligible, and participate should they wish to. So with that, we will move on to our next case is case 2025-53, Charles and Renee Onwu, the appellant and owner of the property located at 4612 Indian Summer Drive, requesting a special exception to allow for a daycare on the residentially zoned property in R20, referred to the board under section 17-16-170. I know the appellant's present and councilmember, you're present. Are there any other parties in support or opposition to the case? Okay, seeing none. Councilmember, when would you like to?
I won't be voting on this.
You will
one.
not, you will be out, okay. We'll let the record reflect Mr. Cole is not participating. And Councilmember, you're welcome to come forward. Before you do, though, one question for you, Ms. Onwu. Did you hold a neighborhood meeting?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good deal.
I did.
I didn't see anything in the, I thought you had, but I didn't see anything in my file.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I do have a copy
Great,
of
if
the
you don't mind,
signing.
if you can email that to me.
Okay.
It's not pertinent to have this meeting. It is pertinent that you had it, otherwise we can't have a hearing. But since you're testifying that you did, that's great. Just email me.
Okay, I will.
When you get a chance. With that, I'm going to change the clock over to 5 minutes. And let me go through the presentation first. Oops, not 30. All right, sir. All right, first step, this is the subject property is the parcel located in the blue there in the Indian Summer Drive. This is up in northern Davidson County in District 3. See the subject property there. I don't know why in the world I put this elevation with it. I think it's I copied from a prior, all right, behind the curtain, I cut and paste from a prior PowerPoint, so I think that's left over from the other. But this is the site plan that Ms. Onwu submitted. It shows her house on the lot, driveway leading to the back. Playground will be located at the rear of the property. And then inside the home, her breakdown of the room. To give you a view of the house, this is the house on Indian Summer. This lot, I'm standing out in front of her home. It's a house with the daycare she listed would be on the second level. That playground is that fenced area to the rear, the shaded area, if you can see my.
Yes, I use both. I use the backyard, and then I use the driveway as well.
Do
on
that.
certain times, yes, I do.
Portion, okay. And then a view of the neighbors on either side. And that's what we've got. So with that, Ms. Unruh and Councilmember, if you'd like to, go ahead and identify yourselves, whatever order, whoever wants to go first, go right ahead and get this done.
Yes,
you go on in.
Okay. My name is Renee Unwoo. Of course, I live at 4612 Indian Summers Drive. I'm asking for a permit so I can be able to operate a business, a daycare, or a group home out of my house. I've been in the business for 40 years, and I have worked at top daycare centers, and so I decided I wanted to go home and to be able to give to my community and to my neighbors top quality care. I'm also went through the fire marshals. I've been approved by the fire marshals. Also, I've been approved by the environmental health. They've been through the inspection. I have passed everything. And the only thing I'm waiting on is a permit so I can run my business. I love children, and I'm so compassionate about helping people. And I've been doing it for so long, and this is really very important for me to be able to continue to do what I really love and provide care services for families. And we know that we are in a daycare desert, and there's not hardly any daycares around. So I just feel like I'm doing a real special honors about being able to provide my care. And plus, I have an associate degree in early childhood education.
My wife had to go get in line at 5 a.m. to get 2 kids into daycare.
Yes, sir, and that's what I would like to say. And also, Miss Councilwoman Jennifer Gamble, she came to my open house with the neighborhood, and so we really enjoyed ourselves and talked to a couple of the people that came by just to see the setup and address their issues, which there was not any issues with my business. And so I would like to turn it over to you.
Thank you all. I am Councilmember Jennifer Gamble. I represent District 3, and I am in support of Ms. Renee's request for the variance to open her or to expand her child care business at this location. As she said, we are in a child care desert in this area, actually the entire city. Back in 2022, the mayor's office, under the direction of the finance department, conducted a survey for Nashvillians to weigh on how we should spend our federal and state COVID-19 dollars. And the survey results showed that out of the top 4 pressing issues that Nashvillians felt that we had, and it was a survey over 2,500 people, of course, public health and safety was number 1, making sure that our first responders and public health and safety officials had what they needed during the COVID-19 crisis. Number 2 was, of course, housing, making sure our unhoused residents, as well as people needing rent and mortgage assistance, was a top priority. Third was our small businesses, making sure our small businesses had the support they needed. But number 4 on that list was access to affordable and quality child care. And that problem has just become even more exacerbated as we continue to move out of the COVID-19 crisis. And so this daycare would provide access, affordable, quality child care access in this community. I did attend the open house, did talk to some of the neighbors. In fact, the next door neighbor has a 2-year-old.
Yes,
and so he's very excited about the option of having this daycare right next door to him. I have not heard of any opposition from any of the neighbors, and for those reasons, I support this variance and ask for your support.
Thank y'all both. Any questions?
Hey, Joey, do you mind putting up the requirements, just so that we can check them?
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is it 170? That's what I was reading on the docket.
And I'm sure that it does, it's just for the purpose of the record, I just makes it clean. When we say, here are the requirements, she meets the requirements, you're approved.
I will say that the Metro Council last year, year before, amended the daycare section to provide more opportunities and took the smaller home daycares out from underneath the board and just allow them by right. There we go. She falls under this daycare home large category.
Okay, so she meets the first one because she lives in this home.
Yes.
It meets the lot size requirement, it meets the street standard and spacing. It looks like from the picture, there's a play area that's fenced in, and we know that she'll meet the requirements from the state for licensing. So I'm supportive, and I find that, for a special exception, she's met all the requirements. So unless anybody wants to discuss anything, I can make a motion that we approve.
I'll second it. So motion and a second, all in favor? Okay, that's approved. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
You're approved. Thanks so much. All right. Final case on the agenda is on the last page, case 2025-54. Proverbs Build Homes, the owner and appellant of the property located at 1124 North 7th Street, requesting a variance in the street setback to construct new residences. I will pull that forward. Come on forward, sir. There's no opposition present. The applicant is the only person left in this room besides us. I'll go through the slides first and then turn it over to you, sir. But the request is there's an existing home that spans across both of these lots. Underline are two lots. This gentleman's going to reestablish the lot lines, construct new single-family homes on each lot. The required setback is based off the contextual average of homes in this block face, and that comes out to be 34 feet roughly. It's 34.01. And that's based on these four homes that you see here that I'm highlighting. They're requesting to be 29 feet 8 inches, which would be more in keeping with the home immediately to the north. Or on the photographs you'll see on the right-hand side. And then proposed to build garages. The garages are not subject to this appeal. It's just for the front setbacks of the homes. And then looking at the existing home that's there now, about where I'm standing, there's a lot line running east-west through this home. And then they're going to construct two new residences on each. This is the home to the left and to the right. These homes to the left, to the south would be. And this home, this home to the north is the one that he's wishing to align with. And then give you views of the homes across the road. And that is it. Sir, you'll have 5 minutes to present your case to the board, and we'll start the clock after you introduce yourself.
This is Mina. I'm the owner of one of the lots.
Can you give us your address too, please, sir?
This is Mina. I live in Antioch. Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Yeah, can you give us your residential address?
5629 Deer Valley Trail, Antioch, Tennessee.
All right, thank you.
And I'm the reason I'm requesting that that change is to align with the two houses next door on the right side or on the north side. Just it will give more backyard between the garage, proposed garage and proposed house. Otherwise, it will push the houses back. So currently, if we push the houses back, the backyard will be between the house and the garage 11 feet. If we try to align them with the two houses next door, it will give almost 16 feet. So that's the reason I'm asking for the variance.
Okay. Questions? Well, I have one. So you did not identify a hardship in your application. What is I know you want to have more room in the backyard, and you're aligning with the houses to the existing houses to the north, but you're asking for about 4 feet, 4.5 feet.
3 and 39, sorry.
How much?
3 foot 9 inches.
3 feet?
9
and
inches.
How much?
3 foot 9 inches.
3 foot 9, okay, so it's not a big ask, but we have to have some kind of hardship other than that you want to, increase the backyard. Is there something unique about this lot or something about the shape of it or?
I'm not sure. It's an old house. It's not really in a great shape. Sitting on two lots. So it will. Once we tear it down and build these houses, it will It will raise the neighborhood aesthetically. It will look better to have two newer homes rather than one old house.
The lots, are they narrower than the adjoining lots that are immediately to the?
They are to the south, it looks like.
To the north, it is the same size. To the south, it is narrower. But to the north, it is same size lots.
Okay, thank you, sir. If there are no further questions, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and discuss. So it's not a big ask. I mean, I get it. It's, 4 feet. I think we do have to see a hardship, and that's what I guess, if the applicant receives a variance, then these houses, the fronts will align with the houses in the north. If he doesn't, then the north houses are going to stick out. So it's.
Joey, do you know if those two to the north had to go and get a variance, or did they? Because I'm wondering. I mean, if it's a 34 foot is the contextual, those others are 29.7 and 29.9, and this one is almost exactly the same. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the hardship could be that. I mean, however if you're looking at it from the homes to the south. It's whose viewpoint do you take here, I guess, because it's going to be.
Well, there's something unique about the properties to the north. The property line is set back a little bit from this property line.
Yeah, that's a
little bit unique.
Yeah, and these are
it's
narrow lots. I mean, frankly, I'm.
Well, and we don't have any objection from the.
I'm curious how we got to 34 as the required, because it looks
I
like
was also
these
curious.
are like. Yeah, you've got 29.3, 30.4, 29.9, and 29.7.
Yeah, I was also curious in that way it jogs. I've not seen that before.
So are you seeing a hardship in the fact that the property line is
Yeah.
further out than the adjoining property and,
Yes.
okay, and that could be 4
Yeah.
feet right there. I mean, it's hard to say, but it's, it doesn't have a measurement here, but where it says iron pin and then
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, when those homes to the north were constructed, the setback measured then was 32 foot, 6 inches. So it looks like the city took some land.
so it's how much?
32 foot, 4 inches, looking at both the newer of the two houses, the adjoining parcel.
Yeah.
On our permit, we say that the setback's 32.6 minimum feet. So that measurement, sorry, I'll share this with you. So there's the setback, minimum front setback 32 foot 6. I think that's the measurement to this property boundary. And then the taking for probably sidewalk side to guess. That's what it looks like.
So what's the
Shrink.
math on that? What's the difference then? Can you put a measurement on it?
I'll do my best to. We'll see. Like we mentioned before, it's not surveyor accurate, but we can probably get close here. Let's see. It's like about 3 foot roughly.
Okay, so really then, that is, I think, a unique characteristic that gets you pretty darn close to the.
Yeah, I mean, I frankly appreciate the owner's desire to try to make it fit within what's around it.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we approve it based on the hardship, the unique shape of the lot, and that it's about 3 foot longer, I guess you'd say, than the properties to the
North.
north, as well as it would granting the variance will allow the alignment of the homes, front of the homes to the north, so.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, that passes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, your meeting is adjourned. Just a reminder, our next meeting will be on a Friday instead of a Thursday. Do the holiday.
Hawaiian shirt day.
We'll be in here. It's Friday. It's up to you.
What's the date of our next?
June 20th.
Friday, June 20th.
It'll be on a Friday here at 1 o'clock
Okay.
in this room.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.